Good afternoon from Yami TV. Wishing you all well, sending plenty of love your way as usual. Now, I had to come up straight away today with breaking news coming through on a case that we have covered from day one on Yami TV, and it involves Liverpool's Curtis Warren. What do we know that's definite? What we know is now, right, coming through in the last few hours, is that he will be appearing at the Crown Court on the 12th of August to possibly go on a 2-week trial on what? 11 new charges. Charges of what? The Serious Crime Prevention Order Agency comes from the National Crime Agency, that when he was released, I think it was about 2022, he was subject to supervision, license and prevention measures on his release at these agencies, right? So what we're talking about here is 11 breaches. I break it down the best way I can now with our follow-up. Now, there is a preliminary hearing on June the 3rd, which only means that they'll have a preliminary hearing to decide whether there's going to be a plea bargain, take 3 of those breaches, we'll drop the other 8, or in what I'm thinking, Curtis ain't having none of those 11 breaches, and they decide just how long the trial's going to be on August the 12th. So that's what June the 3rd really means to me, right? Now, let's look at it. What do we know now for definite? The breaches are, when you travel outside the UK, yeah, you have to let us know, which he did, otherwise he wouldn't have travelled there. But also, the thing that he has been breached for, breach 1, would be that you didn't let us know your arrangements when you travelled. I think it was either to Scotland or somewhere else outside the UK, right? So there's always a clause in there when they're watching, when you're subject to these kind of conditions fit for an absolute animal, to be specific. I'll give you 2 incidences today where 2 other men have been on these subject to these supervision kind of thing agencies, and what happened to them and the likelihood of what happens to Curtis, I explain at the end of this video. Now look, so the arrangements, yeah? So he's gone away with permission, otherwise he wouldn't have gone, and he come back, right? When he comes back, right, he gets arrested at a lady's house, not the address that he has given them, where he resides at, right? So the breaches of that they've come with is you was away from your address for 24 hours. Another breach is that you didn't let us know you changed your address, right? So what they're doing in natural fact there is covering that in case you say, I was going to tell you whatever, but you changed your address now, but they might be just jumping ahead a little bit and thinking, oh, you're going to say that I was just about to change my address. So we'll cover that too. So that falls into the same line as a breach, right? So when they go and arrest him, it's worth interesting. It's only Uncle Yami's psychological intuition and my insight into that life, right? You arrest him, £1,000 in his pocket, credit cards that are not down on record, communication devices, a phone that is not the one that he has registered to you. So you change your mobile phone without telling us, right? So that's in your pocket too. Interesting as well that you find that he had set up a business, yeah? That can only come from when you got the new phone, right? I can't see otherwise you would have breached him long before that, because that would have been a breach. That would have been a serious breach of those conditions. So set up a breach, and the true nature, another breach, the true nature of what that business is. Well, what is that business? It's not going to be a crime business, is it? You know what I mean? It might not even be in Curtis Warren's name. It might be on that phone where he says, look, set up this business, but and somebody else is backing him and blah, 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 blah. The likelihood as well, you know, he's got £1,000 in his pocket. Another breach is, they're not letting us know your income. So that means there is some kind of income come through on those new credit cards that you got while you arrested him at that place where he allegedly and supposedly ain't meant to be away from the place that he resides at, yeah? So that's all in one day. Loads of breaches, all in that side. And also, interesting that he was applying for a passport. which means again that it's probably on a phone that he was applying for it. But hold on the horses a little bit. Hold on here. Oh yeah, and access to multiple vehicles, which of course is not what Curtis is driving. He's getting lifts here and there and everywhere. And if we're to believe what we heard on the original thing from months ago, is that he got a lift to that address where he got arrested at. He wasn't driving. So access to multiple vehicles without telling them that you're in these vehicles. Golden Bennett, boy. Listen, so it all revolves around on your arrest. So a lot of them breaches come out of that one thing. Otherwise, you would have had breaches before that. So that's what I'm asking you to look at. Doesn't mean Uncle Yam is right, of course. So they get they Golden Bennett, boy. They ain't playing around. Look, they're looking for about 18 months on this. Right, they're looking for about 18 months because that's all that they will get out of this, because they won't get all those breaches there. Because Curtis Warren could easily say, I was about to tell you I came back late and I didn't have enough time and I stopped off here or whatever. He's going to have an excuse for that. 11 breaches are really thrown in the kitchen sink here. There was a guy called Darren Finch who broke that same order 3 times, right? Only to have committed crimes. Serious crimes as well, got an extra 5-6 years, and for those breaches got 18 months, and that was after committing crimes. Curtis Warren hasn't committed a new crime. He's only subject to those conditions with the breaches that are wholly unrealistic and unhuman, that you would have to fail somewhere along the way, because that's why they've implemented, and that's why they've got 11. Because they said, well, you didn't tell us about that, you didn't tell us about that, you had to give us 24 hours notice, you had to tell us about that, man, you had to tell. So it all falls into one go, right? So they're playing it smart, and what it means is if he has to go back to prison, which they'll be looking for, maybe not a large, won't be a large one because he ain't got a new crime, right? But it's still going to upset his life. I can't see much wrong with a man trying to open up a business legally, to move on with his life, on rehabilitation and resettlement when you come out of such a long prison sentence. Curtis Warren ain't no sex offender. He ain't no rapist. In fact, he's not even he's not armed robberies or nothing like that with guns where he's doing all that kind of stuff. He's just basically they're believing that he's still got links, money, and blah blah blah. They want to shut it down. The purpose of these agencies, never forget this, is that it works both ways. That they subject you to them, thinking that maybe if you were silly, which Curtis Warren ain't, he might be involved in crime and get up to go and see some of his old links in another outside the UK and try to make a couple of quid here and there. But what it means is that people in the underworld, if they know that you're on them conditions anyway, they're not really going to meet you because they know that everybody's watching you. So Curtis Warren is not going to be silly enough to be doing that, and he probably is, that he's not involved in crime no more. You've got to be realistic about this, but it also works the other way as a deterrent for Curtis Warren. But the police will think, well, look, we'll see if you slip up there, which we think you won't, but we'll still hang on to that bit, hoping we can catch others, whether they come to see you and we get to know a little bit more and that kind of stuff. And if you don't do that, you've got the breaches. So anything that comes in the credit card, anything where someone's giving you a hand, helping you out, someone probably gave him 1,000 quid, more than likely, where did it come from? Well, you're meant to tell us that. It's just basically that. So, what I'm saying to you today is the reality is, Uncle Yamin says, if he has a feasible, realistic explanation, because there's a lot of taxpayers' money and court time and that kind of stuff to go up there. So 11 charges is hard to beat, right? Breaches like that to go up there. They must probably know they might have 2 or 3. Not necessarily. Because if they come and it's all around on the arrest and you've got the phone, the business off the phone, the things that I've explained earlier on in this video comes from what was in his pockets as breaches, not letting us know for 24 hours. If he has one simple answer within that 24 hours, whether it came overnight or anything like that, then all breaches, he wins all of them. So I wouldn't rule that out yet, all right? So let's not write it off completely. But Uncle Yami says it sounds like a tall order. My heart, I feel sorry for him, to be honest, mate. After all, he's not no serial killer and a man that probably is sick of the life he led and just wants to move forward. But he's sick of playing cat and mouse with you when he's trying to do his thing legitimately. The reasoning behind all this is that they're going to say, you're supposed to let us know within 24 hours of any change of plan, like i.e. when you went outside the UK, any change of arrangements within those first 10 hours that you'd given us at first. You know, anything changes in them 10, 12 hours, you're meant to ring us straight away and say, no, look, I've diverted from that place. I won't be going there. I'll be going that one. Do you see what I mean? But maybe a judge will see right through that. And maybe he will see what many of us see is give the man a chance. At the end of the day, no crime has been committed against the public. Do they care or do they just want you? Gordon Bennett, man, I can't see how it's really humane to do that. But that's just me. All right, coming up very shortly. Soon, another one.